Devin Hester, you are ridiculous.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Shut up. See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
This is the Barely Qualified Podcast with your hosts, Nick Labris, Jason Maxwell, and Drew Bailey.
Welcome back to another episode of Barely Qualified, everyone. Season 2, episode 11. I am Drew Bailey with Nick Labris, and tonight we are Jason Maxwell-less, but we are going to try to keep up his ever-present energy and expert analysis for you all. We are live on YouTube, so you know the drill. Join us there while we watch some Thursday night football between the Cardinals and Seahawks. Pretty poo game, but we're still watching it. But you guys know the drill. We're here to talk all things Bears, preview the matchup in Las Vegas against the Raiders on Sunday at 3:25, and give you the inside information on this weekend's betting angles and fantasy angles. We're going to talk straight Bears bets and everything, but before I really want to, since Jay's not here, I'm going to shout out his hometown favorite, Lola's Handcrafted Churros. These are hands down the best churros and possibly the best dessert you're ever going to have. Lola's offers up handcrafted churros from scratch, made hot to order, and it doesn't stop there. Lola's pairs these bad boys with ice cream sundaes, and we're talking about s'mores churros, matcha fruity pebbles, Nutella, strawberry, the list goes on and on. You can get you a sundae, get you a dozen, just stop in for one, but whatever you do, you're going to love it. They have coffee, horchata, freshly made churros, ice cream, and like a wise man once said, who I get to golf with on Saturday, what more could you want? So check them out at Lola, L-O-L-A, churros.com. Follow them on Insta and TikTok at Lola's Handcrafted Churros, and let us know how you like it. So, Nick, we're going to start talking our Bears. Obviously, got some news from last week that I just wanted to start with, and Caleb getting Player of the Week. So apparently Ben Johnson thinks he's been very stoic in receiving that and all business. How have you thought of Caleb ever since last week having a great show out, and how he's kind of approached this week and approached kind of being looked at again like a highly touted guy?
Honestly, this didn't really change my opinion of him. I've always been pretty bullish on Caleb. I am glad to see the results start to kind of pour in the way I was hoping to. I don't think we can expect this every week. We're not going to play the Cowboys every week, but I'm happy to see like the stoicism, right? You don't want to see someone who's like ecstatic to be Player of the Week because it's such a nothing burger, really, but it is a cool thing to get recognized for. But yeah, honestly, like my opinion on Caleb has not changed one bit. It just makes me more excited that my vision for the future of the Bears and Caleb Williams is like possibly, obviously one game isn't much, but it's good to see it trending in that direction.
Yeah. Well, let's break into the game. I'll let you take it from here and kind of talk about some of the talking points that we're going to go into and see if we can't make two a streak this week.
Yeah, make two a streak. Exactly. So once again, Bears have the afternoon game. They're visiting the Raiders out west. So they got the 3:25 kickoff. Bears you noted this, and I want to talk about this a little bit too. Bears opened at -1.5. The line swung 3 points. The Raiders are now favored 1.5 points. Still 47.5 was the over under. So that's a 3-point swing with no major injuries. That's kind of a weird swing in a couple of days. What do you think? Is this a trap? What's going on here?
Yeah, I especially the way that things are trending Bears wise and LA wise, like Las Vegas, LV. They won their first game, have looked bad in their past two. And you would think that I thought this might end towards a pick'em or anything like that, just because you got your 3-point swing of home field advantage. But I'm really confused of going into a team that I think is significantly worse on paper than us, at least what they've been showing. And you're getting a 1.5, which I think is very. I mean, that's where the line ended last week. So we'll get into further analysis, but I'm just confused at that quick movement after it opened up at 1.5 and where it is right now.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Raiders are in Vegas. Vegas sets lines. I'm nervous that they know something we don't know, but whatever. We'll get into it. I mean, the one thing about the Raiders, I mean, they've played better teams for the most part, right? I mean, we've played some pretty good teams too, but they've they beat the Patriots, who I kind of like this year, but they're not that great. But then they lost to the Chargers and the Commanders. So, I mean, those are two playoff teams last year, and the Chargers look like they're one of the best teams in the NFL. So,
well, I mean, it also was Marcus Mariota led Commanders.
Marcus Mariota, honestly, like Jaden looked very good. He looked pretty good. He looked a lot better than Jaden Daniels in his first 2 games. But anyway, we'll get to them eventually. I think we were the Commanders this year. We'll talk about them later. All right, so diving into the game, I mean, the number one thing I kind of want to start with is just the Bears offense, just because the Bears offense was so electric last week. I kind of want to see if we can't keep that going. But when you're talking Bears, like any offense versus the Raiders defense, you really start and end with one player on the Raiders, and that's Max Crosby. He's by far their best player. I mean, I couldn't even name another player on the Raiders defense, but Max Crosby is legitimately a game-wrecking player. With that said, so far this season, he only has, he has 2 sacks in 3 games with 6 hurries. But none of those numbers really jump off the page at you because they have been losing a lot in these games. They've really been dealing with a lot of running game. So you got to imagine if they had some leads, those numbers would be bigger. But regardless of his numbers, you got to be careful with Max Crosby. He's one of the preeminent pass rushers in the NFL. So definitely don't take that guy lightly. And it doesn't bode well that he will be matching up primarily with Braxton Jones, who we have talked at length about. Had a decent game last week, a pretty good game last week, but didn't have to go up against Max Crosby last week. So it definitely is going to give you something, make you a little bit nervous going into that game. And then the Raiders run defense is statistically by averages, they're kind of in the middle of the pack. They give up a little bit over 100 yards a game. Last week, though, against our guy Bill and I couldn't even tell you who else on the Commanders was running the ball.
Chris Rodriguez
had a touchdown.
Cherry McNichols.
Yeah, McNichols. Gave up over 200 yards rushing to a Jaden Daniels-less Commanders team. So Mariota can still run a little bit, but Jaden Daniels is definitely if the Commanders put up 200 yards rushing on somebody, you got to assume Jaden Daniels is in there getting a big chunk of that. He did not even play in the game. So what I'm trying to say is that the Commanders had a pretty ordinary run attack last week, and they still put up 200 yards on the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's kind of a weakness on weakness situation here. You hear strength on strength a lot. What about weakness on weakness? Bears can't run the ball. Raiders can't stop the run. It's like a very movable object against a very stoppable force situation here. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens there. I do think DeAndre Swift is primed for a big game in this game, though. I do think we see some DeAndre. And I also want to call out the fact that last week I predicted that Roschon Johnson would get a bunch of touches, and I don't think he saw the field one time. So,
other than special teams.
He had 2 tackles. Yeah, a couple tackles. But he did not even sniff an offensive play. So I was wrong about that. I guess Ben Johnson likes Monungai more than Roschon at this point, which we'll see. I mean, if Monungai can stay on the field, he might not be wrong about that. Roschon has always been he never really flashed the way we wanted him to, but he also can't stay on the field. Monungai, I mean, he's out there. He runs hard. That dude is trying to make the most of every opportunity he gets. So you like that. But the Bears running attack, you think, is there any, not to talk fantasy stuff, but is there anybody on the Bears that you're thinking, you got a must start this week due to the Raiders' inability to stop the run?
Until I see a Bears running back run for over 75 yards, which might not be a possibility this year, it's going to be a no. But I also think that everyone needs to get run. Like Roshan does need to get his run, because if you're not having a successful run attack with one guy, it needs to just be a carousel and see what works and see who's got the hot hand and roll with that. Because you can, yes, DeAndre Swift can catch passes, but he has some of the worst field vision in open field that I've seen recently. And it's not that I don't want to trash him, because he's been serviceable this year, but the way you're going to be successful against good teams is establish the run and have the play action pass go based on that. And that kind of worked last week when the run wasn't even established. But I don't know too, Nick, if it's in Ben Johnson's heart to establish a huge run game without like two really good runners like he had in Detroit. It's like, if he can't lean on them, he's probably just going to say, whatever, fuck it, we'll throw it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I can see that. I do think DeAndre Swift still got a pretty decent amount of carries back in Detroit when Ben Johnson was the OC. Yeah. DeAndre Swift was younger, had a better offensive line, so it was more productive because of that. So take that for what you will. But I do think Ben Johnson does still want to establish the run. I mean, any offensive play caller should be number one on your list, no matter who your quarterback is or what your receiving situation is. You should always want to establish the run. If not for anything else, like you said, set up the play action, opens up the field downfield. If you can't run the ball, then they don't put people in the box, and they put them all in the secondary, and it's harder to throw. So absolutely should try and set the run up for success. Just don't know. Yeah, like you said, don't know if we have the horses for it. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
This is the team to do it against, though. It totally is.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's happening here? Okay. All right. So then, okay. So we talked Bears running game. The Raiders secondary, I'm not looking at the numbers in front of me. I just got logged on my computer for some reason. I was looking at, but the Raiders secondary, nothing really jumps out at me as like a scary thing other than Max Crosby rushing the passer, which obviously helps the secondary. But besides that, I do think Caleb is going to be able to carve up this defense. And I think with our receivers, like we have some very skilled receivers. So I'm thinking, I really do think that, you get any kind of run game going. I think the passing game is going to really open up, and it's going to, I don't want to say get ugly, because this is the Bears we're talking about here, but I don't think it's impossible to think that Caleb could have another pretty good game against this, mediocre Raiders secondary.
Yeah, no. And like you said at the beginning of this, other than Max Crosby, I don't think I knew a name. I now looked at some of their defense. I do know their defensive tackle, Jordan Lalu, he's got 3 sacks on the year. And I think they have, is that Devin White as a linebacker?
Okay.
It is Devin White.
The old Bucks, right. Devin White?
Yeah, I think it was old Bucks Devin White, went to LSU. But yeah, even that, like, I haven't heard much about them. I guess that's what happens when you don't play in the West, and you don't know much about the team. But also, I don't think they've made much splashes other than offense this in the off seasons or anything like that. So I'll be very interested to see. And it's a team that's got 74 points scored against them. There's points to be out there. Be very interested to see what their secondary looks like going against this many weapons of Rome, DJ, Luther, Zacchaeus, and the 2 tight ends. Hopefully Colston is completely healthy after his hip.
Yeah, I did just look up the Raiders pass defense. They're actually close to the top. They give up a little more than 230 yards passing a game, but that also could be a little misleading because they played against the Chargers and Commanders, who both had pretty big leads on them. So there's a lot of running in the second half, and then the Patriots were not able to do much on offense in their first game. So we're still in the point of the season where like weekly averages aren't quite set yet. There's some outliers that are kind of showing like kind of prove like setting the numbers to look weird, right? We haven't gotten to this point in the season where it's actually kind of settled into where it should be yet. So I wouldn't look at that Raiders 237 yards passing per game and look at that as like, oh, there must be a good pass defense. I think it's just situational more than anything.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there anything else on the offense you want to touch on? Just because, I mean, I honestly, I really don't. Again, Max Crosby, unbelievable player. Besides him, I don't see anything on this defense that makes me scared. That thinks the Bears are going to struggle. I don't, obviously hopefully the Bears can keep the penalties. The one thing I'll say about a road game like this is that the first road game the Bears had was the Lions game where they just could not stay on track. So penalties make me nervous for the Bears offense. Darnell Wright specifically. If the Bears can get the penalties under control, because one thing to keep in mind is that Vegas is kind of like how we always looked at like Arizona back in the day. There's going to be a lot of Bears fans in Vegas. So it's not going to be like it's not going to be a true road game like Detroit was, where it's like all Lions fans and they're all screaming, they're all pissed. It's going to be a much more like subdued crowd. I think it's going to be more pro Bears by far. So, but the penalties make me nervous. But is there anything else on offense that you're looking at as like a possible like major matchup or problem for the Bears?
I think it's continue to not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And this is not a turnover defense. What has shown, I think they have a couple of strip sacks that have inflated their fumble numbers, but only one interception. So be careful with the ball on offense. Be, decisive and hold on to the ball when you have it. That's going to really influence more than, on top of the penalty, keeping the penalties down, like you said, but don't turn the ball over, and you should be in good enough shape from the offensive perspective to score and put up, 20, 25 plus points like we have been over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bears are averaging, again, it's a little early to talk averages, but the Bears are averaging almost 27 points a game, which is, you'll take that, right? You'll take that every day. So, pretty confident about the Bears offense going into this game, which is unusual. Makes me kind of think maybe I shouldn't be. But anyway, we're going to go into so Bears D against the Raiders defense, or Bears D against the Raiders offense. So I think this kind of like the Raiders defense kind of starts and ends with one player, and that's Ashton Genty. Bears can't stop the run. Ashton Genty is their, what was he, like the 7th overall pick, something like that. His numbers don't really jump out at you so far this season, but I do think that, we saw him in college. He was a top 10 pick for a reason. He's a dynamic player. He definitely has his highlight plays. I just don't think his numbers are where they expect them to be because the Raiders offense has struggled so much. But this is a dude that can get it going fast, especially against a suspect Bears run defense. So Ashton Genty is going to be 1, 2, and 3 on the Bears priority list of stopping this week. You look at the receivers. Like Geno. I feel like Geno's like the original Sam Darnold, right? Like last year we were talking about Sam Darnold all year. When's he going to turn back into a pumpkin? I mean, Geno's we've been playing this game with Geno for like 4 years now. I still don't think he's very good. And I think the first 3 games of the season have kind of shown that. On our Monday night show, I guess the show that came out on Tuesday, I was railing about Russell Wilson and his like throwing the ball away on 4th down stuff. And Geno did that same thing on Sunday as well, or maybe it was last week, but he's done that as well. So I don't know. You look at this Raiders offense. I mean, Jacoby Myers, he's a fine player. Trey Tucker, he had 3 touchdowns last week, had a really good week last week, but I'd never heard of him before that. Brock Bowers is a stud, but where is he? What's going on with Brock Bowers? I have it written down here. He has, so far this season, he has 14 catches for 179 yards and 0 touchdowns. Like that would have been a pretty good game for him last year, not 3 games, like that's like he was catching between 10 and 15 passes. It seemed like every week last year. So I'm not really sure what's going on there because he is a stud. I don't know if he's hurt or if they have a new offense. I don't know what's going on, but they need to get him more involved. If I'm the Raiders coach, I am. I hope he doesn't this week though.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to touch on with him, I mean, I know last week or the week before. He's been dealing with a knee injury, but first week blows up, does his regular Brock Bowers thing, 5 receptions, 103 yards. Felt like they were getting the ball to him in space, running the longer stretch routes. Then the next, we've got five receptions, 38 yards, 4 receptions, 38 yards, which is just interesting to say the least. Obviously 2 games that they lost, and it looks like they were just trying to get possession yards and try to get first downs. But that guy needs to be a huge part of your game plan. And we say it's weird because he's not at the top of the list after the season he had last year, but he's 4th in yards. He just hasn't caught a touchdown. But that's weird. That is definitely weird. And only 21 targets. He needs to be, maybe it's Geno. Maybe Geno is looking for longer down the field stuff. And another question I have is, why haven't they incorporated Ashton Genty more in the pass game? Guy has shown that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he only has like 5 or 6 catches out of the backfield. I could be very wrong on that exact number, but I know it's not as much as he should probably be targeted. But yeah, it seems like it's a team very much struggling to find its identity, especially on offense, after the last 2 games. And yeah, you stop the run. It has been shown that Geno might hold on to the ball a little too long. And if you need anything this week for the Bears defense, other than stopping Ashton Genty, it's to pressure Geno and get in his face and make him make mistake throws, because he will.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm glad you said that, because my next point was going to be that we've had a lot of bad offensive lines in our day. We had one of the worst offensive lines of all time last season here in Chicago. The Raiders have possibly the worst offensive line in the NFL. They are right on pace with the Bears from last season after 3 games, giving up 12 sacks in 3 games. So we all saw that up close and personal last year. We made bad pass rushes look awesome. I'm specifically thinking about that Arizona game last year. The Bears went to Arizona, and the big talking point for us was the offense. The Arizona pass rush is non-existent. The Bears should finally get right, and I think they had 4 or 5 sacks in that game. So the Raiders are in a similar spot as the Bears were last year. So I do think that this is an opportunity for the Bears pass rush to kind of get right a little bit. They had their 2 sacks last week. Hopefully the Bears offense can put up some points, get a lead, and then the defense can kind of tee off on Geno, because Geno is not mobile anymore. Never was really that mobile of a quarterback, but still, he's been in the league for 12 years now. Not a mobile guy.
Yeah.
And the passing game is struggling for the Raiders. So, and like you mentioned, they don't really use their running back as like a release valve, like in the flat or anything like that. So, and also, I didn't realize this because I did not do a lot of research for this game, but Chip Kelly is their offensive coordinator. Didn't realize that. Did not realize that. I think part of the Raiders' struggles might be that the NFL figured out Chip Kelly like 10 years ago, and that's why he hasn't been relevant. So that might also be something to do with it. But,
watch, rinse, repeat. You're back.
Yeah.
We'll do the same thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really do. I'm hoping, man, it would be nice to see. It'd be nice to see Montez Sweat get a couple of sacks. It'd be nice to see Dayo Odiengbo get some sacks. It'd be nice to see the interior guys get some sacks. I want to see Geno under pressure, uncomfortable. Like even last week when the Bears got 2 sacks, like when the game was still relatively like within 2 scores, it never really felt like Dak was like running for his life or constantly like under pressure or anything. I would love to see Geno just like under pressure and not able to do stuff. And I don't want to see him sitting back there, not because I'm afraid of him, but just because I want to see the Bears pass rush get up, like come into this game and show that they are capable of doing this against a bad offensive line more than anything. Yeah. So, all right. I do have one more thing I want to talk about. I meant to touch on this in the review show of last week, but I didn't really have a chance to because it slipped my mind. But I think the coaching matchup is actually pretty important in this game. You got the oldest coach in the NFL against a coach who is under 40 years old. It's kind of a unique thing. You don't see that super often because Pete Carroll's what, 73, something like that. Is he in his 70s? I don't know.
Last game, I think he just celebrated his birthday or something like that, or maybe it was 2 games ago. But yeah, he's old.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting. Just the fact, he's 74. He just turned 74. So I think that's interesting that like Ben Johnson is what, like half his age. That cracks me up. But I think the coaching matchup is important. Like Pete Carroll, obviously he's got a Super Bowl. He's been there. He's been around for a long time. Kind of been there, done that. Every second that I see of anything Ben Johnson does, I'm like loving this man more and more. Like we talked about it after the game last week about the like the post game, like the giving of the game balls and the, good, better, best, or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I loved all that stuff. But one thing I wrote down during the game that I completely forgot to bring up during the pod, I think that Ben Johnson gets like, he's kind of that like new age, like kind of more willing to go for it. We knew that. But one thing I wanted to point out, Bears were up 24-14. It's 4th and goal. They easily could have just kicked a field goal. Every coach in Bears history prior to Ben Johnson would have kicked a field goal to go up 27-14. Going up 27-14 in that situation takes you from a 10-point lead to a 13-point lead. So essentially takes a 2-possession game to a 2-possession game. Doesn't really make any difference. Ben Johnson's like, let's just put the nail in the coffin right now. Let's go up 3 possessions right now. And that's what he did. And I love that kind of coaching. When you have a chance to kick, like when you're kicking a field goal from inside your 5 or inside the opponent's 5 on 4th and goal, like it does, like unless it's like completely out of hand, there's no reason to do that. If you have a chance to make it, like if you're at like a 2-possession lead or you can cut it to a 1-possession deficit or whatever, like you got to go for it in that situation. I love that Ben Johnson went for it in that specific situation. So just want to call that out because I think that it gets kind of lost in the shuffle sometimes. So, go ahead.
I was just going to kind of elaborating on your coaching aspect. I think when we were talking about in the off season and doing some of these shows and talking about who was targeted and we got our guy in Ben Johnson, this really confused me. And I think I said it multiple times of Pete Carroll going to Las Vegas, of being like, okay, it's an old guy going to a program that isn't built to win. Yeah. And they're doing some things where they have released some younger players to try to get the win now mentality, but like the team's not there. So it so confused me. I know Pete Carroll is a sprightly guy for 74 and he moves around the sideline. Seems like he's a cool guy to hang out with, but he's still 74. Like You have a very limited time span for him to be effective. And I really am wondering still why, like if they have a 5-12 season, is he going to be around next year? Like, and then was that a worthwhile hire? Like, what did he really bring to you instead of like, going after a young mind? I know they're probably number one was Ben Johnson, and we were talking about that too, which is an interesting story. But it just confused me a ton. And I think that anybody can see that Pete Carroll being out of the league for a couple of years might not have been the best decision for a developing team to bring back into the league.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. This, what it kind of reminds me of after you said that? It's kind of like when the White Sox hired Tony La Russa a few years ago as their manager.
Yes.
It's like, what? Yes. Wait, why?
He must have friends inside the organization or something. Needed a paycheck.
Yeah, I don't know. What do we do? Yeah, it is weird because, like you said, he's not going to stick around for 10 year, like a 5-year like rebuild. He's not going to be here in 5 years. He's going to be almost 80 years old in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird hire for sure. So I don't know. But yeah, so I honestly, so even though Pete Carroll has the wins, he's got the experience, he's got the Super Bowl, I still think Ben Johnson has the advantage here because to my knowledge, Pete Carroll's not really like, he's more of like a CEO. He's not a play caller on the offensive or the defensive side of the ball. He just kind of runs the whole team. Like Ben Johnson's got his finger on the offense. He knows the defense, but he's really. I really just think that Ben Johnson is a really. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about Ben Johnson. I love that man. So I'm going to give him the edge. I don't know.
For sure.
But one thing you mentioned just now, you mentioned Pete Carroll, like the offseason, knowing people in the ownership group. Speaking of the ownership group, kind of the big topic around the NFL the past few weeks and really relevant this week, Tom Brady, part owner, like a minority owner of the Raiders. Like he doesn't even own that much, but he's a very present person in the Raiders organization. Saw him last week at the Raiders game, had the headset on during the game, talking to the offensive coordinator or somebody. Tom Brady also calls games for Fox, including the Bears-Cowboys game last week. A lot of people are asking, is this a conflict of interest of some kind? Is Tom Brady getting inside information about teams and then relaying it back to the Raiders? I have thoughts on this, but I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think, Drew? Is this a problem, or is this what do you think about this?
I've gone round and round in this and had several different thoughts. To me, like Tom Brady is seemingly, he's like Thanos. He's inevitable. The NFL has dubbed him, no matter when they're going to make him an it guy. And it just further solidified that to me. Like last week when he's got, when he calls a game, he's got Tom's freaking man of the week or something like that, fucking guy of the week or something like that. And something he was interviewing Caleb last week. The dude also doesn't age. He looks like a vampire. Like I don't get it. So like I realize that like it's ridiculous to say, oh, he's gonna go in and he's gonna talk to them about their schemes and everything. Smart people are just not gonna disclose certain things. That's 100%. Like you think that affects what they're gonna tell Tom Brady. They're gonna be smart. It's like talking to reporters.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna disclose your whole game plan to a reporter? No, you're not gonna do that. But I also do think that it's just weird that the NFL would make an exception for Tom Brady to just do multiple things and be a minority owner, where I think they would take that stance with other people and say like, no, that's okay. You're not going to do that. You don't need to be seen in that light. So like it's the golden boy image for the NFL that he's just always going to be there. So just, you got to think that it's inevitable, but it doesn't bother me. It's just more like fucking Tom, Tom's there. Like, okay.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. Like what my thoughts were was essentially like, there's no gun to your head telling you have to tell them stuff about your game plan. Nobody, like, these production meetings or conference calls, and you can treat it the exact same way you treat your press conference. You can give them very bland, vanilla answers. You don't have to tell them anything. And if you're going to sit there and if you're going to tell any commentator like intimate details about your game plan, I don't love that. But if you're going to tell someone who you know is a part of a team you're playing in a week or two, then you're an idiot. Like, that's just it's just not a smart move to do that. So yeah, like, is there a
look internally if you're doing that?
Yeah, like could this be looked at as a conflict of interest? Sure, I guess you could probably call it that. It probably, definition wise, it probably is. But I mean, yeah, you're a moron if you're giving him anything, because that's like he's a minority owner of the team you're playing, and we saw him with the headset on. So just don't give him anything, no problem. Also, I don't know if this is a hot take or if this is popular. I don't really follow like how people feel about commentators. I don't think Tom Brady's that good. I think he's very bland. I don't think he really adds a lot to the game. I like Greg Olson a lot more as a commentator at Fox. Honestly, like, of the big groups, like, you got your Troy Aikman on Monday Night Football. I even like Chris Collinsworth, which is a hot take because I know a lot of people don't like Chris Collinsworth, but Tom Brady just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. And I'm not a Tom Brady hater. Like, when Tom Brady was playing, I loved Tom Brady. I thought he was awesome. I rooted for him most Super Bowls. But I just don't. And I don't watch football for the announcers, right? That's not the whole point. But at the end of the day, like, if I am going to nitpick, I'm going to say he's just doesn't really move the needle for me. But
I color guys are really hard for me to focus in on and be like, yeah, you're really freaking like Troy Aikman, those guys, like really hard to be like, oh yeah, I love this certain guy. Even like who's on tonight? I think Herb Street's on tonight
yeah,
as the color guy. It's just like, yeah, you're just there to say like speak every
yeah,
third comment out there,
right.
and I just don't like Tom Brady. Great, okay,
The only
congratulations.
the only one that I really have like other like I don't hate Tom Brady. I just don't think he's that good. I do hate Tony Romo as a color commentator. He drives me nuts. I can't stand that. So that's like the only like really strong feelings I have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Nance and the fact that
Yeah.
he's paired with Jim Nance all the time. I can't like
Oh yeah,
can't
Jim
hate
Nance
on
is
that
great.
pairing
No,
too much.
Jim Nance rules. I love Jim Nance.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say on all of this is like they're also watching every snap of the
Right.
football game.
Yeah.
They're also on top of that. In today's day and age, Jay's favorite thing to do. Shout out Jay. I got first, other than in the intro, like the all 22 you have access
yeah.
to. You can look at all of these things. We're
Right.
in the 21st century. He can watch everything that we have the availability to
Right.
watch. So if he really wants to find a scheme, he can just watch the tape like he did in the NFL
Right.
back
For
in the day.
20 plus years in the NFL, I
Yeah.
think he probably knows what he's looking at. Yeah.
100%.
I think people are blowing this out of proportion. Like I said, technically, by the definition, it probably is against the. It's like it is against the rules, and it's probably a conflict of interest. But I also don't care because, again, you're an idiot if you're divulging something he can't watch on the film. So I agree with you. Not a big nothing burger for me. However, I like to have these caveats in our preview shows so I can point back to it in our review show if things go sideways. If the Raiders absolutely boat race the Bears, I will be calling for Tom Brady to be removed from the booth and Fox because that's not fair.
Put the tinfoil hat on and let's go. Let's go deep
100%.
into it.
Yeah. All right. I have one more topic I want to talk to you about the Bears with because I think this is actually a really fun conversation. I kind of alluded to this before when we were offline. So Bears right now sit at 1-2. That Cowboys game really kind of, I feel like, really changed the outlook of a lot of Bears fans like seasons, right? It went from like, this is an absolute disaster. We're going to suck again. We're the worst team in the NFL again to like, okay, hold on a second. There's a little bit of life here. We might have something. I think this Raiders game, I don't want to put any pressure on our Bears, but I do think this Raiders game is a really big game for the Bears. I don't want to say it's like the biggest game the Bears have had in like, X amount of years, whatever. But this is a really big game because after the Raiders game, you have your very early week 5 bye. So the Bears are either going to be 1-3 or 2-2 at their bye. I think the difference between 1-3 and 2-2 is so much more than a game, right? You go into a bye 2-2, winning your last 2 into your bye, or you go into your bye 1-3 with like a pretty tough schedule ahead. If the Bears win this game, I think a lot of fans, definitely myself, are going to really let themselves be in a position to get hurt again by this team. I really do think that. So I really think this game is a huge gateway game to the entire Chicago Bears fandom. I don't think even if they win this game, they're not going to like compete. They might have a shot at like a 7 seed, maybe, but they're not going to compete for a Super Bowl or anything crazy this year. But it's just, this is a game that if they win this game, it really just like changes the entire perspective on the season. So, Drew, I want to get your thoughts on this topic because I do think this is an interesting game, the way the schedule lines up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would have been saying if they would have won week 1 and you win this week, that it's a gateway to the playoffs, but this is a gateway to 100% that successful barometer that Ben Johnson had, that we kind of had at the beginning of the season, back to, the 8.5 win mark, where it's like, yeah, that is realistic. If you win this game, you open the doors to, and things are starting to shape up. I know we have a hard schedule. It really is more towards the back half because you look at it after the bye, at Commanders, very tough, but then versus the Saints, at the Ravens, which is tough, the Bengals, at the Bengals, which is now not looking that tough.
Right.
at versus the Giants, who we don't know what Jackson Dart looks like, then Vikings, Steelers, and then back to Eagles. So like there's a bunch of winnable games to show me that we can balance around 500, and if that's a playoff spot, maybe, but at least 500 being the barometer, this game will be telling to say like, yeah, going into the bye, I think more than kind of what you're saying is it's also going to determine like the language and what we're hearing from the team of like 2-2 going into the bye. You're like, yes, you're optimistic about the season. 1-3 going into the bye, you're like, we got a lot of work still to do. We've got a lot still to work on, and we're going to take the bye week and make sure that we can, get the basics down, which is sad, but unfortunately, I think one of the two things that we're going to hear based on the loss.
100%. I don't think if the Bears lose this game, it's going to be like, we gave it our best effort. We just came. They were the better team that day. It's going to be, we made a ton of mistakes. We turned the ball over. We had too many penalties. We gave up some big plays on defense. It's not going to be like, throw your hands up, be like, well, you lose some games sometimes. It's going to be a disaster or it's going to be a win. I think those are the only two options. And I hate to be so extreme, but I really do think that's how this game is going to go. And honestly, like you said, after this game, after the bye, it is kind of evenly split on games. The Bears will be favorites or close to under 2 point spread would be my guess. And games that they'll probably lose, they expect them to lose. So if they can stay around 500, if they can pick off one of these teams that they're projected, they're going to be underdogs to, I mean, we're looking at a potential 7 like this. That's why I think this game is so important. In one aspect, it's kind of like, okay, if the Bears lose this game, you can really just like, all right, we're just focusing on the future. If the Bears win this game, knowing Chicago fans the way I do, this is going to be like, all right, playoffs. We might, playoffs are in the as a possibility now. So, it's stuff like that. It's like I feel like a lot of times in my life when there's a game that's like so obviously like if you win this game, we might have something here. I feel like a lot of times they lose these games. But yeah.
Don't let me down. I know you'll let me down.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. All right. Last thing I want to touch on because we haven't touched on it yet, and we usually do. I want to go through the Bears injury report because it is it's ugly. Sure. It's not great. It's a lot of outs, a lot of DNPs. So start with you got TJ Edwards, Kyler Gordon, Grady Jarrett, all defensive starters, all key players going into the season, all DNP. You got to expect Kyler Gordon is definitely not going to play. Haven't seen him yet this season. TJ Edwards, I mean, both him and Grady Jarrett not participating yesterday and today, not a good sign. Probably not going to see them on Sunday. Then you go to the other side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball. You got Darnell Wright, did not participate the last two practices. And also Colson Loveland, the tight end, who finally came on the scene with like a 32-yard catch. He did not participate with a hip injury. So a lot of DNPs. And then DeAndre Swift, he is a limited participant. Cole Kmet, he was a full participant with his groin injury. So yeah, there's I do think you're probably going to see DeAndre Swift and Cole Kmet in this game, but man, the DNPs make me a little bit nervous. Yeah, I do think Darnell Wright though when he went out, we talked about it on our review show. Yeah. I do think Theo Benedict did pretty good in his limited snaps at left tackle. So I don't know. I shouldn't say I'm not worried because whenever a starter gets hurt, you are worried. But if there's, I don't know. I mean, the defense is making me more nervous. Those are three big contributors that are just not going to see the field, most likely. The good news there, though, if you want to have a good side, is that we're kind of used to them not playing, and we were doing okay to bad. I guess the Lions game was bad. But we've done. Grady Jarrett is one that honestly, like I like Grady Jarrett. I think he's a good player. He's a really good addition. But we talked about Andrew Billings. Obviously, we have Gervin Dexter at the defensive tackle position. I do think there's some depth there, so it's not going to hurt so much there. And also our guy, Sewell, Bradley Sewell, not Bradley Sewell. Noah Sewell. Yeah, Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell. He's been playing pretty good at linebacker. And the corners are really just what makes me nervous, to be honest with you. Just Jalen Johnson, he's not coming back, and Kyler Gordon's still out. So I would like to get more of an update on Kyler Gordon. I don't know why it seems like he's like day to day every week, and then he just like doesn't play ever. Those soft tissue injuries, though, that's kind of how it goes. They're really hard to come back from, and they're really easy to re-injure. So it's just a really dangerous game.
I also something I really like to see, and not to get away from the injury, but I didn't notice. I saw a video, or it was an article about Shamar Turner. Shamar Turner got some run last week, and he actually had some good tape put down. Now, he wasn't huge in the stat sheet, but he had some good tape of taking on some double teams, getting some internal push. So it might be like, not that I think this is why we signed Grady Jarrett in any way, shape, or form, but like it might be nice to have Grady Jarrett just on the sidelines teaching these younger tackles in how to play and how to get run, and then when he's healthy, get in there for a rotation or two. But I will say another injury with Darnell Wright, maybe we won't have as many procedurals.
Yeah.
He doesn't play. Nick,
if he doesn't play, we might. If he doesn't play, maybe we'll actually have some. We won't have as many 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 35s, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's actually an interesting point because I did see that he played last week. It was his first actual action of the season. I didn't see any of his tape, but that's good to hear. And not surprising. You don't see a lot of he didn't have filled the stat sheet. Defensive tackle, their job is essentially just like to hold up the offensive linemen so the linebackers can make tackles. That's what a defensive tackle's main job is. If you can get a pass rush on pass plays, that's what makes like people like JJ Watt like an elite defensive tackle back in the day. Is he could stuff the run and he could run the rush the passer. But you don't really see that a lot from defensive tackles. I think he might have also been technically like a defensive end in a 3-5, but regardless, good to see. I mean, you get Grady Jarrett back. You got 4 solid, NFL, maybe not solid, but NFL caliber defensive tackles you can throw rotation, because those are the big boys that need the rotations. Those are the guys that you need to get a couple plays off here and there. So if you can get 4 of them and you have 2 solid, like almost like a hockey line shift of defensive linemen, that's a strategy for winning right there. So I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So, all right. We talked Bears for about 45 minutes. Drew, I'm going to ask you a simple question. How do your Chicago Bears win this game? How are we sitting here at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday happy with the Bears victory?
Well, I don't want this to allude too much to what I'm picking, but the Bears win this game, in my mind, starts with a mindset of you should win this game. This is a game where, again, you're better on paper than this team in almost every facet of the game: offense, defense, special teams. And that's going to translate after getting some confidence under you. Yes, it's a travel game. You're familiar with the 325 slot because you just played one last week. So it's going to be a mindset for me like that they deserve to win this game, and Ben Johnson needs to call it aggressively to win this game. I don't want him to back off and try to control the game. I want him to be Ben Johnson and slaughter these guys.
Yeah, way to win the game.
Exactly.
Yep.
Something we left off the podium list last week, but play aggressively, play fast, play like the team that we saw last week, and I think no doubt in my mind that the Bears win this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're gonna get to the Bears Raiders game in our I guess a 2-man weave this. Well, Jason's involved.
Yeah.
Did he send his 3-man weave picks over?
Yeah,
I think he did. Yeah. So it is a 3-man weave. We won't be as weaving as much, but either way, we have the picks. We'll talk final predictions in that, but I agree with you. I think the Bears need to be aggressive. I think the Bears need to go into this game thinking they're the better team, but also not overlooking the Raiders, right? It's like that middle spot where you just like, you go in, just take care of your business, do your thing, and expect to win the game with that. Also, game plan wise, I do think any kind of like chip scheme or double team scheme on Max Crosby, that'll obviously be helpful. And then on the defense, you just want to key in on Ashton Genty. If Geno Smith beats you, I mean, Geno Smith beats you. I don't think that's something you can really, I honestly look at this game as the Bears should be able to put up, 27, 30 points in this game. So if Geno Smith beats you on a couple drives, it's not going to kill you. So don't let Ashton Genty get going. At least try your best to stop him. So I think Bears do those things. I think they can be very successful in this game.
Yeah. I so agree with you. Wow, we might be going to overtime in this game.
I
in this big
know.
over too.
Well, they score. You're like 20 seconds ahead of me.
Always ahead. Sorry.
Is it Trey Benson? Please be Trey Benson.
It's not.
Damn it.
Unfortunately.
So much.
Yes, agree with you on all fronts, and I'm sorry to take this back. I want to say it feels like early that Ben Johnson is not the type of coach that's going to be like.
It was Trey Benson.
Was that Trey Benson? 31?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's DeMarcado, son of a bitch.
Sorry. I thought it wasn't. But I want to say that Ben Johnson isn't a guy who's going to take a game lightly ever. Like it's going to be, roll over because we should win this game. It just doesn't feel like that's his mentality, especially in first year as a coach. Like everything means something. Every game means something. So I hope it doesn't reflect in him. But again, we're in a very young season, in a very young coach too. So like we'll see what that gets to be. But it just doesn't feel like it to me that he would ever like overlook a team.
Yeah, and I didn't mean like Ben Johnson, but like I don't know, like I could see this team kind of like I don't know, not that I can see this team, but I'm more talking about like the players. Like you don't want to overlook the opponent. Like no. I don't think Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson is going to say all the right things to the team. I'm not worried about him. I think this like the players. You can't overlook anybody. You're not again. Bears won a game, still not good enough to overlook anybody. Still not. You can't come out there with your C game and expect to win games in the NFL when you're the Chicago Bears. Maybe like the Buffalo Bills or the I don't even know some other good teams in the NFL could win with their C game. The Bears cannot do that. Bears need to bring their A game every second of every game, and they have a fighting chance at going 500. Like they're not a good team right now. So we're trying to get better, but that's where we are right now.
10-4. Agreed.
Yep. All right. Well.
All right. Yeah.
Let's Bears. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this Bears game, but I don't know. Let's talk some like betting and fantasy stuff.
Yeah. Let's change it up. We'll get into the betting fantasy corner and talk a little bit about the things. Jay did send us in most of his picks for all of these, so we'll touch on his highlights, touch on the rotation of our normal slots, but really quickly, I'm just going to say, hey, BQ Army, you looking for a next great place to enjoy a Bears game with great food, drinks, and people? You can look no further than Chuck's Southern Comforts Buffet on Cass, just off of 55 in Darien. Chuck's has got great food, drinks, and specials for every day of the week, and especially Bears games. You can find a link to those and their menu in our descriptions and bios and socials. $3 PBRs, $5 Yingling pints, and more for all those specials, but with a wide open layout for bar patrons, including slots, seated dinner guests, and private event spaces. Chuck's has got everything you need for your next outing. So get on down there, tell them BQ Boys sent you, and maybe we'll even catch you for a couple of Bears games this year. All right. So, Nick, every week I am loving this Guillotine League more and more, and I feel like I'm getting texts from everybody internally, like, you going to be on the chop? You going to be on the chop? 3 down. One of our buddies, Jay, and my buddies from high school, Colin, got the chop. We're 14 to go. Not quite at like your regular fantasy league, but it's definitely looking fun and interesting, and injuries are a big thing to play. Looking at some of the fab stuff from last week, we had Bucky Irving go for almost half of someone's fab, $501. Pickens, which I think is I think he's a steal of anything below 200 because he's going to be the marquee guy at 185.
Yeah.
BTJ going underneath him at 150. Javante for 101. Tucker Kraft at 100. How you feeling this week and beyond so far about the solidification of your team? Have you had any injuries that are kind of jeopardizing you or anything?
I haven't really had any injuries. My biggest problem in that league is my running back position. I mean, I picked Jalen Warren, who's been fine, not great, but fine. And I thought Travion Henderson was going to be a good player. I still think he might get some more run because Ramondre Stevenson has had some fumbleitis the past few weeks. So I do like his upside there. But I did take Cam Scadaboo late, and he's been pretty solid for me.
Huge. Yeah.
So that's been good. I was trying to get into the Bucky Irving market, but I just got, I mean, I like Bucky Irving a lot, but in this, I wasn't willing to put more than because I spent a pretty decent amount on DK Metcalf last week.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to like go broke on Bucky Irving. If it was like a legitimate like top 3 running back, I probably would have gone for broke on it. But Bucky Irving, although a good player, I think that a better player will come later. And I also feel like I'm in a good enough spot where I'm not desperate right now for a running back. Now that could come back to bite me if I only, put up 65 points this week and get chopped. But yeah, I think I can get along just fine. I'll tell you what, I took Jake Ferguson, and last week he had 14 catches.
13.
This is a full point. This is a full point PPR league, so just put up an unbelievable game for me last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like my squad. I think I'm sitting okay. But yeah, I could definitely use a running back.
Yeah. I mean, like we saw last week, almost all projected points starting off around the 100 mark. What we've seen is a lot of drop off towards that, whether it be an injury or anything like that, to get around the 70 mark, 75 mark. So that's where you're aiming for, really, week to week. Right now, looks like Sean, your buddy?
It's my buddy Sean, yep.
Your buddy Sean on the market. The tough thing is that dude, looking at his team, has just got hit with the absolute injury hammer. Yeah, there's not much you can do about it, but hopefully you can find the wire because trades aren't available.
Right.
So if Sean's listening, find the wire, find a playmaker, get in there. We got a lot more game to play. I just realized myself, I have Jaden Daniels as my cornerback and had him starting, but he's questionable. And Sam Darnold's playing tonight, so unfortunately, if he gets ruled out, I gotta get to the wire pretty quickly.
Looks like your options are Geno, Tua, Jackson Darts out there though.
Ooh. We like the Darty Party. We're Darty Party fans here.
I am anything that's not a Russell Wilson fan for that team because I do have some stock in Malik Neighbors out there, so I am a fan of anything besides Russell Wilson playing quarterback.
We are not going to overtime. Wow.
Did you miss it?
Wow.
Man. This game kind of turned into an okay game. The first half was real stinky, really, but the second half pretty good.
And they came back and scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, hey, the Cardinals started off 2-2. I don't think the Cardinals are anything special, but Seattle. Seattle
made it.
Was the team. Yeah, he made it.
Oh, never mind. I thought you said he missed it. I don't know why.
Oh, my fault.
Oh no, that's probably me. I probably just anyway. You said they're not going to overtime. I don't know why I thought that meant he was going to miss it. Obviously, I'm not looking at the score. But anyway, go on.
All right, but more fantasy to come. We're gonna jump into fantasy pick'em. Fantasy pick'em, as always, gonna be picking 4 players: QB, running back, wide receiver, flex. We'll just toss it back and forth and just rotate it instead of doing the full snake here. And we're gonna give Jay whatever his picks are. He can take whoever he wants out of the group of players that we don't pick. So QB, running back, wide receiver, flex. Nick, you got any good picks so far this week? And I'll let you start. Where are you leaning towards this week?
Yeah, so for this, I think I found a trend and I'm gonna keep riding it. I'm gonna take the quarterback playing against the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm taking Jordan Love this week as my guy.
Yeah, that seems to be pretty pretty solid pick. I
Yeah.
forgot to. You know what, Jordan Love. I'm writing that down. Forgot to go over what we had last week. By the
Oh
way,
yeah.
So last week had a pretty. I had a pretty heavy stack and investment in the Detroit and Baltimore game. Paid off in two
Yeah,
places.
big
Didn't
time.
pay off in Zay Flowers. I tell you, if you had stock in Zay Flowers last week, sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
Oof.
but 77.82 points for me. Jay, unfortunately, he got hit with the CD hammer last
He
week.
did.
That's unfortunate. 0
Yeah.
points there, but 44.56 for him. Nick getting the Caleb Rome connection and then having George Pickens behind the CD
Yep.
was pretty payable for you, being 70.02. Right now, full lineup, full scores are I'm at 162, Nick's at 156, and Jay's trailing a little bit behind at 125. But seems like the point totals are trending upwards. Nick's taken Jordan Love as his QB. I am going to do something that I think is smart, but I'm going to continue kind of stacking heavy on some heavy hitters, and I'm going to go with CMC as my first running back here
Yep.
in Jacksonville. I think run heavy game, especially with how injured that team is. Gonna have to lean on CMC, and if this is the game that gets him injured, then I'm just the curse.
Yeah. Well, that means that CMC is officially off the board for this pick'em thing now because all three of us have now taken him.
We
so.
have okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all the strategy of getting
It
him
makes
early.
sense. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to leave him on the board late.
All right. Back to you.
Back to me. All right. I am going to take, regrettably, I am going to take Ashton Genty against the Bears defense. They still haven't proven to me they can stop the run. And I think this is the week that he really kind of breaks out and has like a really nice game. I do think the Bears can still win with Ashton Genty having a big game, but I'm taking Ashton Genty here. I think he's going to put up some pretty solid numbers. He's going to have a couple gash plays.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could blame you for that pick until the Bears show me that they can stop the run. And they weren't stopping the run last week until, there are a couple of tearaway turnovers, but it was still that bend up but don't break. So no one could blame you for that one.
No.
I am going to go to wide receiver, and I do. This is going to sound disgusting, and I hate picking this, but I do think that there is value in Tyreek Hill this week against the Jets. They're gonna have to score.
Yeah.
It's a battle of poo teams, and we're gonna go over that in our 2/3 man weave in a little bit. But Tyreek, I think this is a Monday night game. It's a I hesitate making the pick, but I had him actually pretty high. So
I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
he's going to have to score at some point this season. He's not going to score 0 times, so he'll be. I think you're going to be all right.
Okay, thank you for that support.
Yeah, always. All right, we're just going back and forth, right? We're not snaking it all.
Oh, back and forth.
Okay, all right. I am also kind of in line with your Christian McCaffrey pick, right? We're taking people before we think they're going to get injured. I'm trying to buy before the stock hits the ceiling on this guy, and then hopefully won't have to worry about it anymore. I'm taking the ageless wonder Bears legend Keenan Allen as my wide receiver.
Mr. AC joins himself.
Yeah, my God, it's so creepy. So
you know what? Justin Herbert's finding him the ball, and that's what he needs. Like, he just needs possession catches.
He does. I need to see more Lad McConkey, so I would like to see Keenan Allen go away because they kind of play the same role in the offense. They're like the underneath possession receiver to, by the way, Quentin Johnston is all of a sudden wide receiver 1, which everyone saw coming, I imagine. So it's weird. It's a weird. The Chargers completely like. I thought they were going to be good this year, but they look like obviously we're 3 games in, but they are the best team in the NFL right now. I think maybe the Bills, but them and the Bills.
No, I like the pick a lot. He's been steady. He's been someone that, again, I mean, it's a half point PPR. He's going to give you a half point per catch, and I think he's like averaging six to seven catches a game, which is absurd.
Yeah.
So, and you got to ride the hot hand in Justin Herbert while it's lasting, and it might last forever. So, I'm going to go into flex, and I'm flexing a wide receiver this week. If you haven't heard the news, Nick, Chris Godwin is questionable to play. That doesn't mean I'm taking Chris Godwin, but he's questionable to play for Tampa Bay. Mike Evans being out highlights another wide receiver, maybe not who you're thinking, but I am picking Sterling Shepard as my flex guy. I think he's shown that he can get the ball in space, even as a wide receiver 2 behind Ibuka is great. They're playing Philadelphia, who has an excellent secondary, and I think if Chris Godwin does play, Chris Godwin could be a very, very much just like smokescreen for that team, to where Sterling Shepard gets a sneaky 7 catches, 75 yards, and maybe a touchdown in there. And I've been liking Sterling Shepard since kind of, I'd say week 2, but now seems like the right time to, now that Mike Evans is out for multiple weeks, now is a good time to pick him.
Yeah, no, I really like that, and I will probably be using that in my uncle's league that I often do. So thank you for that. That's a great pick. I didn't even think about that. No, I like that a lot because you got to imagine that Ibuka is going to get their number 1 corner this week, so that should open up Sterling Shepard a little bit, and he has proven that. I think what we're learning with Daniel Jones and any former Eagles player, right? You're learning that anything they do on the Giants, you can just kind of forget that happened on the Giants, because they're actually what they're showing on the Giants is not necessarily indicative of how good of a player they are. Because I do think the Giants are just that bad, and I think that Brian Daboll is just not a good coach. But we can get into later. But I like that pick a lot. And I am going to round out my flex. I'm going to do what Jay did last week. I'm going to take a tight end with my flex, and I'm going to hope it ends up better. I'm going to take the touchdown machine himself. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft to stack with Jordan Love. I really think the Packers are going to score a lot of points, and I feel like every time I see Jordan Love throw a touchdown, it's to Tucker Kraft. So I'm hoping that continues.
Yeah, and been great. Not surprisingly, maybe it just seems surprising to me because I didn't think he was that. I thought he was more of a possession tight end, but been really good in space this year. Yeah. Seeing him chunk yardage and hit guys in the open field and get more yardage. I love that pick. I like Tucker Kraft, and I was surprised even when he went for, I think he only went for $100, and
could have been a good value.
Yeah, it was really, really good value. So I got to round out with quarterbacks. I'm really hesitating being in the stack or no stack. I've been in some stacks and they've paid off. They haven't paid off last week, and whether that was the quarterback or the wide receiver, it's kind of 50-50. So I'm going without the stack right now, and I'm taking I'm stacking with your wide receiver one. I'm going to take Justin Herbert at the Giants. I know it's a travel game for them.
West to East.
Yeah, it's the West to East. I hate it. But I think Justin Herbert is just playing really well. And I just want to see 2 gunslingers just gunslinging it out in that game. Yeah. Really, really want to see that. Yeah. So maybe it's wishful thinking.
I think we're becoming Jackson Dart guys, like for real. Like it kind of started as like kind of tongue in cheek, but I'm pulling for the guy. Like I hope he's good because I don't know. Again, I have a lot of stock over there in Malik Neighbors, so I'm hoping that he can get the ball actually. Because my God, Russell Wilson was just so bad the last. He had that one good game against the Cowboys, but besides that, he's been absolute poo.
And can you even really say it was good? Like he's chucking the ball up in the air. Yes, okay. You're getting a lot of deep passes, but
Right.
he's just so.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Brian Dable. It seems like it's a commit to save my job sort of thing, and like
100%.
I'm sure a lot of the organization is doing the same thing of like you got to play this guy, or else we're all going to get fired if we keep Russell Wilson in there.
I mean, unless they like go on a historic run, there's no way Brian Dable's coming back next year. They're doing the Bears. They're firing their head coach the year after they draft somebody. So they're doing the old Bears trick.
Yeah, but God, will that hopefully be a fun team? Like I don't hate the Giants for any reason, but at the same time, I think they deserve a decently fun team. Yeah, they had the Eli teams, but they didn't have something like this where you got 3 young core players that could just be electric around each other.
Plus, their defense is so young and so good too. Like they have some studs.
Yeah,
I always think the Giants and the Bears are kind of like the same team, but the only difference is that the Bears on their like good years every 10 years, like they go to like the second round of the NFC Championship game, and then like the Giants in their good years, they just happen to win the Super Bowl. If you take away those 2 Eli Super Bowls, the Bears and the Giants are the exact same team.
Could be echo the same exact.
So I mean, the soft spot in my heart for all the teams that are like that in the NFL, where they're just like always bad. So I don't mind seeing the Giants do okay.
Yeah. Not that we meant to get that into a Giants rant through fantasy, but I'm glad we talked about it because I wanted to talk about it for sure.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to go.
All right. So post fantasy, we're going to talk a little bit about our dogs. Nick only out of all 6 picks last week, only pick that got last week. So we're in a get right spot right now for all dogs, for all overs of the week. We're going to give you guys some good ones this week, so don't fret. But last week you had cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think you had the cards.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, cards +2. They lost by 2, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Was it 1 or 2?
It was 1 or 2, but they covered. They covered ultimately. Jason had Texans, which not a great pick, but
Cardinals lost by 1, so they covered the plus. They covered the +2.
And I'm stopping here really quick. I had the Pats +1.5. I am so pissed about that game. That should have been a game where New England won by 2 touchdowns, and they gave away the ball on the goal line twice and 3 other times in almost plus territory.
Yeah.
And you want to look bad at a season at a coach of a guy that like we think is a leader of men. Like that seemed like a miscoached team, and you've got bad personnel out there. If Ramondre Stevenson is fumbling on the goal line and fumbling in the open field twice, like I'm mad about that game. Big time.
That was bad. It was not a good game.
Brutal. But we're in get right spot. I'm going to start with you, Nick, though. Talk to me a little bit about your dog of the week this week.
Okay. I have a couple.
Yeah.
I actually, when I wrote these down, I have 5 written down that I like. I'm only going to take one. I'm really deciding between 2. I think, all right, I've made my decision. I'm taking, well, hold on. Before I do this, let me check something really quick because I haven't really done this yet.
See if there's
locking in, just trying to waste some time, blah, blah, blah. Is Brock Purdy playing this week?
Brock Purdy, I think, is still in the questionable. Area.
I should have done some research. I assume he wasn't playing.
It's a question if he's set to return. I think he was QB2 last week.
Yeah, so he'll probably play. Either, you know what? I'm going to go on the limb here. Either way, with the injuries that they have, I've been kind of bullish on the Jaguars, and admittedly, the Jaguars have not looked great this season. But I think Jaguars +3.5 at the 49ers. I like that. This is a Jaguars money line possible bet for me. I like the Jaguars. I think the 49ers are a solid team, but they're playing way above they're punching above their weight with their injury problems that they have right now. The Jaguars are a decent team. I think the Jaguars are better than the Cardinals, and the Cardinals really took them to the edge last week. So I like the Jaguars plus 3.5 here. If it was 2.5, I might not like them, but 3.5, I love it. So I'll take the Jaguars.
Okay. No, I do like that. I hate the east to west travel
I know
game,
you
but it's
do.
a later game. I think, yeah,
I
it's
feel
the
like east to
305.
west isn't as bad as west to east, right?
Yeah,
Because they're
yeah,
not getting
you
up
got more
early.
time.
Right. So it's like it's different.
More time. 49ers
Right.
are just, they seem decimated. Like the
Right.
quarterback, top 2 wide receivers. You never know when CMC is going to get hurt. Your top tight end, like
Defensive end.
Joey Bosa, or I'm sorry, Nick Bosa out for a
Yeah.
year. Like,
Right.
and yet they're 3-0. And a lot of us picked them deep in the West, and they're on top of the West, but you just don't know how that's going to last with that many injuries. So I do like that pick. This is a stinky, weird pick for me, but it's more of kind of like a misleading. How is this? I know it's the Dublin game, so it's a travel game for both teams, and it's hard to say like, yeah, who's home, who's away in this early 8:30. I really do think that the Vikings, they have a great defense. Steelers have a good defense too, but I really think it was misleading how many points they put up last week, and it feels like that line just is weird to me. Them getting favored in a battle of 2-1s with what seems like more of an established team right now in the Steelers than the Vikings. So I'm taking the Steelers with plus 2.5. Just because it seems like, again, an Ireland game could be messy and low points. Two good defenses that control the game, and so I'll take the points in that every time.
Yeah, honestly. So that was one of the games I really like as well. I'll tell you why I really liked it, because you look at a Brian Flores defense, right? Last week you're playing against a Jake Browning, a backup quarterback. He's played against a rookie quarterback, or a Caleb Williams, second-year quarterback. And what I'm trying to say is that Brian Flores' defense is really good against inexperienced quarterbacks. But when you look across the field, you see Aaron Rodgers standing there, the quarterback for the Steelers. Brian Flores isn't going to throw anything at Aaron Rodgers that Aaron Rodgers hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
Right. Aaron Rodgers has seen everything there is to see in the NFL. So I do think I'm not saying Brian Flores won't have some success against Aaron Rodgers. He is a very good defensive coordinator, but the confusion that Brian Flores creates when he plays a quarterback probably won't be there to the extent it usually is against a seasoned veteran like Aaron Rodgers. So with that and all the things you just said, I do think the Vikings kind of got the benefit of, like, if you're looking at just the scoreboard from last week, it looked like, holy shit, the Vikings are unbelievable, when really they played a backup quarterback, made some bad plays. The Bengals they fumbled a lot. It was just ugly. There was a point in that game, I want to say it was right before halftime, where the Bengals were driving to go down by a single score at halftime.
Yeah.
It was like, it was not, and that kind of blew the game open. But I agree with you 100%. I love that pick, and I think that one, I like that one a lot. I think that one's gonna be good.
Yeah. And Jay sent us his picks. So I'm gonna pick his dog. I'm gonna let you pick his over. But I'm just going with the top one that he had, and I love this game. I think it's going to be an excellent game. I'm surprised that, I mean, it's slotted in the 12 o'clock. I would have loved to see this as a primetime matchup, because it's 2-3-0 teams. And it goes against my second favorite team. I guess it's just a theme against the Eagles, but he's got the Bucks plus 3.5. I do like them at home, and I just like them the way that they can score, although they have some assets out on the offense. It's hard to pick against Baker when he's getting points right now. So
yeah, especially
I had it on my list, and
Yep.
he had it at the top of his list. So I'm picking the Bucks plus 3.5.
Yeah, I had that one as like the top. Those are like, we literally just took my top 3 picks. Bucks. I mean, you got to love taking a home dog, right? Home dogs do pretty well in the NFL, so taking a home dog, I love that as well. I try and find home dogs when I can. This was one that definitely I thought about a lot, but anyway, I love it. On the sports books right now, we're looking at plus 581 to parlay those 3 together. So I think this is the week, boys and girls that are listening. Please jump on and tail us because I think you're gonna regret it now if you don't.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, I'm never not gonna jump on that and never not gonna place it. So get on it. Get into the over the week. Went 0-3 last week. I feel like we're right on the cusp of something. Like
Yeah.
we're all toying around with what's not working for us, whether it be the player props, whether it be a team total or a full game total. But I think I'm just ready to get back to what kind of you did or what Jay said. We're just going to get back to some games. And I'll pick first this week. That being said, I'm going back to the player
Yeah.
prop, and it's more of a wishful thinking sort of thing because I really think that this matchup is going to be maybe not beneficial towards these two players, but it's going to be something that you have to get your new fresh quarterback in line with his number one wide receiver. And Nick, I know you're going to be happy with this that I'm picking this, but I am taking Malik Neighbors'
There we
over
go.
in yards, and I'm looking up what that is. It struck me as I gotta pick this because one, I have some investment in Jackson Dart. Two, they have to get Malik Neighbors the ball, especially to if this connection is going to make sense with them going forward. But I also just think that Jackson Dart is going to focus. He knows who needs to get fed, and that's going to be his more than winning a game. I think that's going to be he seems like a relationship guy to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to make a relationship with my head wide receiver, my number one wide receiver. I'm trying to look up this line, and I'm
seeing 62 and a half.
60. I will take that. Anything. I was going to say anything right around the 70 mark I'm fine with, but 62 and a half, I love that. Give me 62 and a half for Malik Neighbors over.
This kind of got washed over because we did go 0-3 in our overs last week. I had I don't know if you saw this, Drew. I had Roma Dunze over 62 and a half receiving yards. Do you know what he ended up with?
62.
62. Yeah. Fucking God. Catches a 40-yard touchdown and doesn't go over 63 yards. Whatever. Anyway, they spread it around too much. What are you going to do? I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a problem with the Giants. They don't really have a lot of receivers, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so needless to say, I love that pick. I agree. I think that they're going to have to get Neighbors involved. I think that's the only way they have a shot. And Jackson Dart, if he wants to succeed in this league, he's going to have to get his number one receiver fed. So, love that pick. For me, I'm just going to go. This is the first one that I really liked. Looking at the board, I'm not going to get too cute with it. I'm going to take Packers Cowboys over 47.5. I think there's going to be points in that game. The Bears Packers didn't go over last week, but this is inside. I just think that there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. So I'm taking the Packers Cowboys. I got 47.5 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I love it. I also think that's an absolute travesty that the Bears scheme didn't go over last week. One, because Dak Prescott threw a interception at the 2-yard line, and on top of it,
went over,
they had 38 points in the first half and scored a single touchdown as the scoring period in the second half. So I don't think that. Yeah. I also think the Packers will not let up on them in the Micah Parsons portion of things.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that part. Yeah,
storyline towards things, towards last playoffs of just trying to score whenever they possibly can. So yeah, if anything, too, like I lean towards the Packers team total over whatever that is in there, and they might score. They could possibly score 40 themselves.
Yeah,
so I like.
No, that makes sense. I'm gonna stick with the total over 47.5. I do think that's gonna hit, but yeah, I think the Cowboys are the Packers over, which if I'm looking at that is scoring. I don't know, team totals. Here we go. Packers over is It's 27.5, which I also really like. So I'll probably be putting a solo bet on that as well. And then our dear friend Jason sent us his picks, like Drew said earlier. His number one pick on here is going back to your Dublin game that you had in your dogs. He's got Viking Steelers 40.5. I'm seeing 41 now. I'm not sure. Do you think we should stick with that, or should we move on to the next one? I think 41 is probably okay, right?
Yeah, I think 41. I mean, the kicker, the kicker of 0.5. I hope it doesn't come into play, but I think 41 would be good. Good for him.
Yeah. So that parlay is at plus 549. Again, haven't hit one of these yet, but I think we're kind of circling it. So I think jump in before we start making the money. I think if you jump in now, I think it's the perfect time. So I'd say jump in when you can.
Yeah, we've been getting in the lab. We're doing our research. We're looking for you to get rich as we are ourselves. All right, last section, and then we'll close it out a little bit here. Got to toot my own horn here. 6-1 last week after Nick went 5-2. There's a lot of things that are trending in the right ways for us. Jay went 3-4 in Weave. You 2-5. I think the board's a little bit. I tried to pick some games that are closer. I try to do that all the time, but season totals right now, we're at Jay at 8 and 13. Nick is at 10 and 11. Drew at 12 and 9. We're all flirting around that 500 mark. But let's get into the games, talk a little bit about them. First one goes back to what we were talking about in Jay's dog of the week, which is very interesting because got his dog of the week at 3.5 for the Bucks, but yet he's taking the Eagles to win the game. So hopefully a win and a cover. That happens plenty of times. But Nick, who do you got between Philly and Tampa Bay this weekend?
I have Tampa Bay. I don't think the Eagles have been as good as their 3-0 record indicates. I think they have a lot of problems. Their offense really looked really nice in the second half of the game last week, but I do think they're like they're like afraid to pass. I don't know if it's like the quarterback or not the quarterback, but like the offensive coordinator. They don't love throwing the ball. I mean, they kind of opened up in the second half last week, but I do think that if they keep that up, I just don't think that they have played as good as a 3-0 team. So I like the Bucks. I'm really, really high on the Bucks this year, so I really like the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm going to pick against the secondary darlings here, and I'm with you, Nick, because the games that they played have been close. Yes, they've been against good teams, and away they beat the Chiefs only by 3. I think this Tampa Bay team is much better than the Chiefs. They're traveling again. Mm-hmm. It seems like this could be a time where the Eagles kind of just maybe not put it in cruise control and think that they should win every game, but I'm also wondering when Saquon Barkley is going to be Saquon Barkley, and just haven't seen it. And maybe it's just a kind of early season, hasn't gotten into things, but it just strikes me as this means more to the Bucks and being at home that I'm just going to give them the advantage towards that one and pick the Bucks for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Our boy Drew, our boy Jay picked the Eagles, and mentioned at the top. So
which is interesting. Again, a cover and the points, the win in the points has happened in plenty of times, and especially with the Eagles, field goal game definitely can happen.
For sure.
But we're both on the Bucks.
Yep.
Tennessee, Houston, first of the poo games that we're picking this week.
Good Lord.
Very, very tough. Who gets off the schneid here for you, Nick, of the 0-3 teams?
So I actually almost had the Titans as my dog of the week in this game because I really liked them. They're +7. I don't think Houston should be favored by a touchdown over anybody right now. They're not. They're playing like absolute dog shit. But with that said, I don't think the Titans can win this game. I do think they keep it close, but I'm taking the Texans to get off the schneid here.
It was more of a, I mean, I know this is one of the larger spreads that we'll probably put in the money line. But it was more of I was trying to create a trend of who gets off the schneid. And I
Yeah.
do think the Texans are the better team.
Yeah.
Although I, I could see the Titans giving them a tough game because I think the Texans might be just bad. They might be just bad this year. And CJ Stroud looks horrible.
He does
not look like the rookie CJ Stroud. Even season 2 CJ Stroud right now. But all that being said, they should be the better team on paper. So that's what I got to pick.
Yeah, honestly, nothing on the Texans outside of like Nico Collins looks like they're any good. Like bad, they're just all bad.
Yeah,
and even Nico Collins looks hampered because CJ Stroud is just not a good quarterback right now. And this is just a classic. This is just a game where it's like, okay, yeah, you said it. The Texans are better on paper. You play them in Madden. The Texans have a higher Madden rating than the Titans do. This should be a straight, easy Texans win. But I would not be shocked if come Tuesday or Monday night when we record the show, we're talking about like Titans winning this game. I would not be shocked, but I do think the Texans win.
Yeah. Jay had the Texans as well, so that makes it a consensus on those. The one thing I'll say is be wary on our consensuses because we've had like 3 consensuses this year, and I think they're 2 and 3 in losses. But so just be wary. Next game we have the Ravens coming off a loss against the going to Kansas City, who is coming off their first win of the year. I think Kansas City is a very tough place to play. Jay's got Kansas City. I actually have Kansas City, although I really, really like Baltimore this year, period. I think it's a very tough place to play. And what concerned me last week in Baltimore was, 1, the sacks, but 2, it didn't look like Lamar felt comfortable to run the ball.
Yeah.
He looked very much like he was either getting forced to pass or like wanted to pass more than get his legs moving, get chunk yardage, or get positive gains. Got sacked, 6 times last week?
I've never seen Lamar get like tracked down and tackled by the first guy so much in my life.
Never. And on top of that, Derrick Henry is starting to look human, fumbling twice last week. I think it's not trending in the best way for Baltimore, although I think the longevity of their season, it lies on Lamar, and he is going to have success. But I think KC, they play these games, these tight games against really good competition in the slimiest way possible and scratch out wins. And that's why I've got KC this week. How do you feel, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think all that stuff is justified, you just said, but I also think that I don't know, like I do think that Detroit I'm taking Baltimore. I do think that Detroit was just like their entire game plan was like, we're going to tackle Lamar. It was clear that was drilled into them. They're going to tackle Lamar. They're going to make Lamar make a decision, and they're going to tackle him. They're going to contain him in the pocket. There's the word I'm looking for. Going to contain him. They're going to get him, and they're not going to let him get out. And I think that was drilled into their heads, and they have some guys to do that. I don't know if Kansas City has the guys that are really good at that. They have a decent defense, but I'm not sure if that's their strength. I do think, I mean, we didn't really talk about this, but like these are 2 1-2 teams right now.
Yeah.
Right. The loser of this game is going to be 1-3 after 4 games. The Chiefs and the Ravens, who have played in the playoffs like every year, for the past like 5 years, or seems like it anyway. Loser of this game's in trouble, legitimately in trouble. But I think Baltimore is going to beat them. I don't think people look at the Chiefs the same as they did 2-3 years ago. I think that they're just, they don't have like that air of invincibility about them. So I'm not really, I think the Ravens take care of business and win this game.
The thing that I think is trending for the Ravens, not that I'm going back on my pick, is they've had 2 teams score almost 40 points against them, and it's 2 of the best offenses in the league. KC is nowhere up near that echelon right now. They had the Browns, who scored 17 against them, so I think it's going to be a lower potentially scoring game, and I think that that Baltimore needs a get right on the defense. Like
Yeah.
they have nearly the highest point total scored against them. I
Mhm.
think that's going to be attended to big time. So I still do like KC, just home field advantage. Jay did too. And I thank you for highlighting that I skipped a game
Yep.
because I did
Yeah.
down the list.
I got you. I got you.
Um, but going back to the NFC after the AFC, we're going to go into Danny Dimes' darlings, the Triple Ds, at the Rams this week in LA. And Jay's got the Rams.
Mhm.
They played a really, really solid game for about 3 quarters or
Yeah.
2.5 quarters last week.
Yep.
Scary what they just kind of let off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Who do you got this week in that game?
Oh, it's tough to bet against Triple D's, I'll tell you that. But I think I don't know. Okay. I think similar to how this is a gateway game for my Bears fandom this week, this is a gateway game for do I believe in Daniel Jones and the Colts? If they go to Los Angeles and they beat the Rams, I'm going to be a believer in the Rams or the Colts. I'm sorry. I'm not there yet, so I'm taking the Rams in this game. But I'm 3 games is like fun. You do this 4 games, including at a quality opponent like the Rams, you get my full attention. So I like the Rams in this game, but I'm on Colts for real watch this week.
Yeah. Yeah. This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. I maybe I'm picking with my heart and hoping that they do. I'm going Indy solely based on the fact that I think they've shown me that they can be real. Yes, they're not the favorites, but controlling the game. If this becomes a ground game between Jonathan Taylor and Kyron Williams, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor all day there. And Matthew Stafford has shown absolute prowess towards only 2 wide receivers and mostly Puka Nacua. And if you can scheme towards Puka Nacua and just control him not getting long catches and those extra possession catches, shake a tackle, I like Indy's chances in this game. It's a travel game for them. It's really, I feel like, their first real test because you've had the Dolphins. Broncos was a pretty test. Yeah, Broncos are good, but then at Titans. But I feel like you said, gateway game for them for sure. And you go into the next couple of games, you got the Raiders and Cardinals at home in the next 2. So this is your real big test over your next 3 games. You got to take it uber seriously. I know it's week to week, but I think that they could be a real team, and it's a game there where I definitely considered them for the dog of the week. But I do think that they can pull this one off. And if they don't, hey, we're back into conversations of Danny Dimes might not be real. But second absolute poo game. Who gets off the schneid here? And this is unbelievable that this game, I don't think they flex this early in the year, but should be flex. It's the early slate of the Monday night games. We've got the Jets going into Miami. If you could probably pick 2 teams to lose, this would be the game. Just let them go both to 0-4, give them both a tie.
Who cares?
It is kind of a who cares slot. Jay's got Miami. Nick, who do you got?
Flip a coin. I don't care. Like the Jets, I think the Jets are not terrible. It sounds like Tyrod Taylor is going to play again. Justin Fields probably still out with a concussion. He hasn't cleared it yet. I'm not really sure how the concussion protocol works. It seems like he could still play, but probably not gonna, unless you've seen some I haven't seen. I don't really know. Either way, I think Tyrod Taylor's a pretty solid backup, and I just think the Jets are. I think the Jets are just in a better space as a team, even though they're both bad. So I'm taking the Jets, but also this game, can we you get 2 Monday night games and they're just both dog shit games. Like, what are we doing, guys? I mean, I thought Bengals Broncos should have been a better game, so I'll give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt on that. But Jets Dolphins, that sucks.
Yeah. That's it. No surprise. I do like the way that they're doing it, where the games won't interlap, so you can watch both games. But
Yeah.
if one of them's a shit game, you're not gonna want to watch it anyway. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be football on in the background.
Right.
I actually did look this up, Nick. Justin Fields was a full participant.
Oh, well, I like it even
Full
more.
participant. He's still got to clear the NFL protocol for concussions, but gives me belief that the Jets can do this. But like you said, Tyrod is capable,
Yeah.
and I think that a good thing that I've seen is no matter who the quarterback is, they're getting Garrett Wilson the ball.
Yeah.
And the Miami secondary is an absolute mess. You
Yeah.
don't know who the frick is back there.
Nope.
But I'm gonna go with the Jets as well in that one. But it's a who cares game. It's a who gets off the schneid, but they're not going to be making the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. Last two games, Green Bay at Dallas. Jay surprisingly going back to his boys. Okay. Maybe it's a Micah Parsons trying to get revenge against him going to Green Bay, but that's Jerry Jones's fault. So why they would need revenge against Micah Parsons, I don't know. How you feeling, Nick?
I'm going to keep this one short and simple. I think the Packers win this game going away. I think the Cowboys are bad, so no further explanation needed. Packers win this game pretty handily.
Staying short and sweet with you too. I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah,
there's no explanation necessary.
They're coming off an ugly loss. They're going to get right. Cowboys stink. They're gonna roll.
Speaking of, I know we semi touched on it in the review show. Is just got to touch on it again, and I'm gonna say because we haven't hit it yet. Fuck you, Paul. Nothing feels better than seeing a Bears pull out a defining win and the Packers winning or losing a game that should not have been lost in the way that it was lost.
No, that was. I mean, you hate to see it, you hate to see it.
All right. Well, then that leads us into last game. We all know what we're picking in the last game. We've got the Bears and the Raiders. 325 slot once again. Nick, talk to me a little bit. Give me just a little bit more than what you gave me on the Packers.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more. We talked about it a lot during our Bears preview segment earlier in the show. The Bears are the better team on paper. That's not going to happen a ton this season when you talk about, full matchups. Like there's always going to have skill, but I do believe that the Bears are the better team on paper. I'm taking the Bears. I think the Bears passing game is successful. I think the Bears are. I think even if the Raiders do run the ball with success, I don't think the Raiders passing game is anything to you're worried about. And I think the Bears are going to be okay on defense. So I'm taking the Bears. I think the Bears win this game by like 10 plus. I love the Bears in this game. So I'll take the Bears.
Yeah. It's well said. Well said. And I'm just going to echo what you had to say is it's a game that maybe not on the lines you should win or Vegas is picking you, but you should win better on paper. You have all the momentum of what you built on last week. There's no reason why you shouldn't echo it if you're a legitimate NFL football team and have a legitimate core behind you in coaching, talent, and all of that. So picking the Bears as well to round that out, get to 2-2, get to the bye, get even, get right, and let's get the gateway through to the rest of the season and a winning season potentially this year. So that'll round out the picking section of everything. Track us, trail us, we'll track for you and let you guys know how we are doing each week. That's going to close it. That's going to close every section out other than closing thoughts. And I'm going to kick it to you, Nick, for just what you got for closing thoughts this review show, our preview show.
Closing thoughts are simple. Make sure you stock up on snacks this weekend. Make sure you get your fridge fully stocked. This is a do not leave the couch under any circumstances weekend, all weekend. The college football slate is unbelievable. You got top 10 matchups, top 25 matchups everywhere. NFL is NFL, Ryder Cup, all weekend. Just stay on your couch. Don't leave. Sleep on your couch. enjoy life. This is about as good as the sports we can get. So the weather's still nice. You can open the windows, get a nice breeze in the house. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah. Generational sports weekend. And it's kind of what I had for my closing thoughts. We're getting close to moving out of this house. So everything is kind of clean, empty. We actually have the dogs at my parents' house this weekend. So I've got an empty sort of house. Jenny's doing 2 things. So enjoy your sports this weekend, because once again, as we've said it before, like you only got a finite amount of sports watching left in your lifetime. Enjoy the times that you can soak up everything, every good game, make some memories, texting your buddies, betting, doing everything that you want to do. Have some beers, have some snacks, make it a good one, and just enjoy sports while they're here for you.
Absolutely.
So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks, Nick, for joining me. I know we were absent Jason Maxwell this week, but he will be back for our preview show on Monday after a hopeful Bears win against Las Vegas. We'll be reviewing that on Monday for all of you. But on behalf of Nick Lavris tonight, I am Drew Bailey. Thanks for listening, as always, to Barely Qualified. And guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you. Go Bears.
Thank you for listening to the Barely Qualified podcast. Like, comment, subscribe for more on a bi-weekly basis.